Hey friends, it's Harpreet messaging you from Melbourne. It's my last day in Australia. I've been here for 3 weeks, had an absolutely amazing time catching up with loads of old friends and seeing what's going on here in the creative industries. A lot's changed, a lot's the same. It's been really cool to check it all out and yeah, just to be in a country that I absolutely adore. I lived here 7 years ago and it's taken me this long to come back. I worked here in the arts and found out so much about what's happening here. Met a lot of creative people, a lot of artists, a lot of people in live music. Yeah, so it's been really interesting and I've travelled around a lot of Australia in the past, so this was just a short trip to catch up on all things Australia. And yeah, and for anyone that's been to Australia, when you visit the cities, they're very diverse, they're very multicultural, really interesting and exciting. But you don't see that many Indigenous people and Aboriginal people around. But when I do out of my own curiosity, try and talk to people. The other day, a lady stopped me in the street and asked me for some money, and we had a chat. And it was an Aboriginal lady telling me that her husband was in prison, that she was originally from Western Australia, and that he was in prison for beating her, and he was an alcoholic. And we had a bit of a chat about that. And yeah, and she said for her it's very difficult to get work and have a life in the cities, and that if she wants to prosper, she needs to go back to the bush. And that white people here, they've come here and they've taken over, and they don't really appreciate the history and heritage of people and the people that lived on this land for thousands and thousands of years. She doesn't feel respected. She doesn't feel valued. Yeah, so that was kind of interesting. Obviously, that was one person that I spoke to recently, but if you do come here, there's a lot. There's a lot to learn. There's a lot to scratch beyond the surface. Australia is not just about kangaroos, koalas, and pretty beaches. And yeah, there are lots of British people that have moved here, and I don't blame them. They like the weather. If there's good opportunities, a good lifestyle, it's quite laid back here. People are really cool. It's quite a happy place, but obviously, like everywhere, there's issues with politics and government and so many other things going on. But yeah, for anyone that hasn't been to Australia, I would recommend it. I think people get put off by the distance and the flight, but whatever. I just, the world's a big place. You need to go and explore it. And yeah, and I think, again, I really do think that people often consider Australia as just being another, westernized sort of place to go to, like, I don't know, the States, or, they might think we've got beaches in Europe. But as I say, if you come here and spend time here and travel, you will have the opportunity to learn a lot about the history of this country, the history that is sadly not taught, I'm told, very well at school. People are still being told that Captain Cook came and discovered Australia. But yeah, so there's a lot to find out about this place. And I think rather than go home and think, wow, that's a bit of a strange country, it's a kind of a young country. It's a new place, but it isn't. And same with Britain, I think. I think in Britain we can sometimes be a bit arrogant, or sort of, I think we have a habit of, say, laughing at the Americans and even at the people here down under. But I think we need to look in the mirror a bit more and realise that how many people in Britain haven't got a clue about our own history, our colonial history. We're not taught all of that at school, are we? So, and not everybody educates themselves or has the opportunity to learn about all of that. So we might have all these museums and libraries and things, but I don't think we use them very well, and I don't think that our education system really, informs us of what has happened historically. I think, yeah, we're quite different to Germany in that way. I think Germany's opposite to us in a way, in that they are deeply aware of their past, and exploring it and sharing it with the world and themselves. So yeah, interesting. I love to travel. I love to reflect, and I think it's really, really interesting as I'm getting older. Yes, I'm still a young spring chicken, but yeah, I think, I think when I first started traveling, I was very excited to discover new places, but I'm finding it now, it's increasingly interesting actually to return to a place that you've spent time in, whether you've traveled there or spent time there, especially if you've worked, and lived somewhere. It's really interesting after a certain amount of time to go back, not just to explore the place and how it's changed, but I think what happens inevitably on your journey is that you find out how much you've actually changed. So yeah, this has been an excellent. It's only been a few weeks, but it's been quite a revealing time for myself, in terms of just finding out how much I've actually achieved or how I've grown, self development, perspective, how I relate to other people. Yeah, so much. So the last few weeks have been so rich. I couldn't have achieved what I have here by staying at home. But yeah, I'm going to miss my friends deeply. I love my friends here to bits. They're absolutely amazing. Yeah, so I'm going to end this now because I need to get myself to the airport in a while. Flying back to London via Beijing. I wonder what the weather's been doing there, and I hope you're all doing great. And I'll see you soon. Bye for now.